welcome everyone to the latest episode of Insert Title Here. Episode 16 already, which, I mean, for a small little show, I mean, we're already up to episode 16, which I wasn't expecting already to be to this point. But hey, you want to know what? One a week. That's pretty good. So before we start off,
as good as you're gonna get.
Yeah, really. I mean,
it's all downhill from here.
Yeah, I mean, I love the vote of confidence. So before we start,
we can't really get much lower than our first night. It was you, me, and Theo watching the election, and that was it.
Yeah,
you started your show on election night, man.
Yeah, and the first stream was an 8-hour stream.
Yep.
Oh my god.
That's a way to kick a show off.
Yeah, I can't blame you there.
So we're going to go quickly or just around the horn and introduce everyone. And then we're just going to kind of talk about the topic, which tonight is vintage gaming, whether it be board, card, or video game. We'll start off going to my side here with Tiny But Fierce. How you doing, Tiny?
I'm doing all right. Happy to be here. Happy to see everybody. As I said when I reposted it on X, most fun I can have on a Friday night.
It's great that you're here. And now we go to my co-host, Darnell. How you doing?
Hello. I am wonderful. How about you?
I'm sitting upright. I'm sitting upright.
There you go.
Hey, if you're looking for wittier quips, I'll get them later.
Yeah. Fair enough.
Oh, hold on.
Yeah, and then we will welcome Strider. How you doing, Strider?
Doing good. Insert witty quip here. Which, by the way, Iron, you need to give me that picture because that's me.
I'm saying it looks like Hitler. It looks like Hitler.
I'm just surprised that
out of a Bond on a
the shadow looks like a Hitler mustache.
Oh, son of a bitch! It does.
Yeah, but I can't believe they would have let an Irish ginger be Bond. That just doesn't seem.
I mean,
well, now Amazon runs it, so you got nothing to worry about. It won't be a ginger. It will be probably a black chick.
That's they'll cast me as the first ginger Bond, which means incrementalism is a thing. You open the door to a blonde Bond and it's a ginger, and then a black woman recasting in the Netflix adaptation. It's gonna happen.
No, Amazon runs it now. Amazon's gonna make it a black chick to begin with.
Oh, I know. We talked about it
on
a little bit. I was not happy with it. Just no. I'm not looking forward to that.
And then we will introduce.
Yeah, I love how they're all like, they're gonna give us Henry Cavill. It's like they're not gonna give.
No, they're not
going to.
No, they're not.
So happy.
You're gonna
say to pick a Bond.
If only
You're gonna get
listen to fans. Rings of Power season 1 wouldn't have happened, much less season 2. That guy does not give a shit about the fans.
You're gonna
You're not
get
even
either
gonna
the
get Tom Hiddleston.
or you get Amanda Stenberg, one of those two.
No, we're gonna get Lasagna Lynch, aren't we?
Yes, we are.
Ugh.
We will introduce Iron when he returns. But our special guest this evening is Sammy3peat. Welcome back, Sammy. How you doing?
Hey, I'm awake this time. You know,
I mean, it's great that you're here at the beginning of the show this time instead of a little bit later going, oh, man, I'm awake, kind of.
Yeah, woke up in a panic. Although I did set an alarm, I did doze off, so I got like a nice 2 hours in. So I'm feeling crispy, you know, nice.
What?
Crispy. He's fresh. He's crisp. He's
yeah, like lettuce,
like a vegetable.
Okay.
Yeah, like
Okay. Yeah, I can see that. Never heard that before. I might use it.
Would you prefer a different
like
adjective?
Nice juicy grape.
You know, yeah.
He's juicy. He's juicy. Better.
Yeah, man. Voluptuous.
Oh my god. Voluptuous. Yeah, there you go. It's a good one.
You need a little more flop in the hair. So tonight we're just gonna. We're just gonna take. Oh, Iron's back, so now we can introduce. Hey, and now
Iron, give me that picture. I need it.
Oh yeah, I'll send it to you.
Awesome.
And joining us again this evening is also Iron. How you doing, Iron? What you got?
Oh, I'm doing all right. How's everybody doing tonight?
Crispy.
A little soggy myself, so
Floppy.
Oh,
First one always to the left.
Fully erect.
Well, it's warm. It's humid. I mean, I kept my it's a little too warm in my place right now.
Dude, you're wearing a sweatshirt.
See, you know what is amazing is that the entire time I talk about us getting snow and we're cold, and I've got my co-host here that says "screw you" or "fuck you." it's burning hot. Now I talk about my place being a little too warm, and now he's freezing because it's 30 degrees in his place. Finally.
Oh, I'm not freezing. I'm not freezing. I'm flipping you off because you're making fun of me.
Oh, then I misconstrued it. Okay, that's exactly okay.
That's it.
That's what it is. Got it.
Emerald,
Yeah.
you talk about it being too hot in your place, and you're wearing a sweatshirt jacket.
You have to. It's the emerald arrow.
Yeah, it's a little bit of a look. It's a little bit of
I
a
don't have a
uniform.
problem with it, but it's funny to complain about the heat
I
while
know.
wearing a sweatshirt.
It's not a phase, Mom.
I like the
Hoodies
color
will always be
green.
in
Okay.
style.
now I feel like
I like
I'm the
hoodies.
Amazon representation.
Yeah, there we go.
of James Bond.
That
There
is
you
the next
go.
time. That's the next James Bond.
Not
It's James
Scaramanga. Oh my God, the guy who pops. What is his name? In Live and Let Die.
Oh,
Help me out.
Oh,
What
shit.
is it? What is his name?
Paul McCartney.
Live and Let Die.
No, I'm blanking on that movie.
Is it Kananga? It's Kananga. Yeah, it's Kananga. I remember now.
Okay.
Not in the book, by the way. Good book. Really good book. Probably one of the best Bond novels, in my opinion.
So we are going to start off with just a little bit of growing up. We all either played some kind of game that was our favorite, whether it be a video game system or board game or card game. We're just going to go real quickly, just kind of around, and we're going to state what was our go-to entertainment when it comes to gaming, mainly because right now it seems like vintage gaming is on the rise. I'm going to bring up this little chart real quick and kind of just show it. And it really started to, and I'm looking right now just at like the regular Nintendo system. And we see right about here.
And to clarify, this is video games, right?
This one is video games.
it's Nintendo price.
And just the whole point that and these are the games. And we're seeing that the games are kind of going up in price, and it kind of happened right there at about the start and about a year into the pandemic.
Yeah.
And then it just spiked. More and more people started getting into the vintage gaming, and I think it's more a result of crap video games we were getting from AAA.
Yeah.
But it just dawned on me that was better. A lot of people are going back to the vintage because those were good games. They may not be. I mean, compared to modern games, which are garbage anyway, it seems like it right now. The graphics, a good game, it doesn't matter what the graphics are like. If it's engaging, got a good storyline, and it actually works and it's not broken.
Yeah.
Well, some of what you're calling vintage wouldn't even I guess it wouldn't be considered vintage to us because we lived it.
Right.
But it's like we're talking GameCube, PlayStation 2.
Oh,
It's still
Even
far enough
those are
that
coming.
I'm not old enough for GameCube to be vintage. Damn it!
I think those are far enough that they can be considered vintage now because
They are now.
They are.
No, they are.
So we'll go we'll go vintage for Strider here. PS2.
Yeah.
And even that's on the rise.
My first console was the SNES.
Well,
Like, I'm not that old.
PS2 is going to run into a problem pretty soon that the cartridge gaming isn't going to have because of the quality of disc. You're going to start to get disc rot.
Oh, that's a thing.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah,
that's where emulators come into play. You can pretty much download a fully compatible, even with a moderately good PC. You can get a PlayStation 2 emulator that works just fine.
Yeah,
absolutely.
all of my SNES games are are on either. I have an SNES Classic, which I haven't played in a while, but most of them I have. Like a lot of the baseball games, I remember really liking playing. Really liking the Donkey Kong games are all on emulator. I'm not ashamed.
All my original consoles are just on my bar. I have a Raspberry Pi just cooked up to my system, and I also I have my PC. So very
Also,
rarely.
Say hi to Nate while he's at work.
Vintage gaming, it is so expensive. Like we're talking about games that have been selling in the millions of copies. It's all the reason they're so freaking expensive. I guarantee you, it's all manufactured. Just it's a bubble. It's all artificially inflated.
Oh yeah, there's really no reason.
Well, there's one vintage game I've been having really a hard time to locate, and it's for the old classic original Atari video game system, and it's called E.T. And
yeah. Good luck.
I'm about to say, is that Where's Waldo? Because there's a lot of irony in that.
Yeah.
So let's go around real quick. And what was your go-to entertainment for escapism that is gaming related? And so we're going to start off with Tiny But Fierce. What game did you, growing up, enjoy playing the most that you constantly were playing?
Well, as most people know, I'm one of the only non-gamers really in the group in the fellowship. I do actually like to say though that I'm not. I do like to say that I'm not actually Gen X or millennial. I am Oregon Trail generation, and we played that in school all the time. And I did finally get a version at home for a little bit.
It's millennial.
But yeah, I know, but it's just fun to say that, like, no, we're the Oregon. Like, there's like a 4 to 5 year little period between the two. We're the Oregon Trail generation. We all
I'm a Reagan millennial. I remember when they called us Gen Y.
Yeah, but I also played a lot of D&D when I was much younger because my uncle was a big dungeon master, and I was realizing the other day, I was trying to think back. One of my really good friends growing up, she did have Sega, and when I went to her house, we would play something called Echo. Like you were a dolphin, and you were
Echo the dolphin. Yep.
I mean,
game was surprisingly
I did that like 12
dark.
times, maybe, but that's about as close to regular gaming as I got.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I guess technically Oregon Trail or D&D, that was my thing growing up.
You can pronounce it right because at first you pronounce it Oregon. Like, is that a new Japanese paper folding thing?
Origami Trail.
Origami.
Where you just make little dubs
Trail.
for.
I don't know anyone who called it Oregon Trail. It was Oregon Trail.
Yeah.
Oregon.
They actually just rebooted that game. They just had it on Switch.
What?
I just figured us in the East Coast didn't know how to, like, we would say it the way we wanted to say it, not the way that they say it.
Being good, I grew up
and I was always
Oregon
very
Trail.
much to say
I should have
Oregon.
just renamed it. I hope I get dysentery quick so I can go do something fun.
I love Oregon Trail.
I like the hunting bit. Did anyone play the sequel to Oregon Trail?
There was a sequel?
What was that?
There was.
It was
It
a
had
return. It was a return
Party.
trip back east.
No, you're still going to Oregon Trail. The graphics were
Trail of
updated,
Tears.
and you have whenever you're talking to people, it's a static shot, but the mouse still moves. I still remember it. It's fully voiced too. It wasn't as fun.
It's called
I didn't like
Custer's
that.
Revenge. It was terrible.
If you think about it, Fallout could be an actual sequel to Oregon Trail. There's a possibility there. Just give it a little bit of deep thought.
It's in 1883. I know
Custer's
the
Revenge was an actual Atari game. Tiny.
What?
you don't know? Oh, you don't.
Yeah.
Well, it's like also like I didn't do any of like when I was a kid, my mom said I could have a computer or I could have a video game system, and I chose a computer. And then I didn't like really get video games like computer games much for that. But a lot of my friends did, so I at least heard everything that was going on.
Just playing Quake 2 on God mode.
Darnell, what was your go-to favorite game growing up?
So was
it a stick and rock?
no, close.
Look at my hoop.
I had the Atari 2600, and then everything after that. But before that, I had a Tandy 1000 that had Where in the World is Carmen Sandiego.
Oh, nice.
Played the hell out of that. And they also had this console. No one remembers this console. No one is like, this thing existed.
This is Custer's revenge.
This
it is
I had
blurred out,
this.
you can kind of tell.
Oh shit!
The Atari XEGS.
Oh yeah.
Is that the gun from Duck Hunter?
No, that gun was with that console.
Oh,
Remember
okay.
there was a game where you shoot frogs and certain bugs.
Oh, nice.
But yeah,
People
this is where I
underestimate
got
how
into
long the light gun has been around in console.
Oh yeah, this was early.
Beginning.
Yeah, but before Nintendo, I remember playing this game, booting up like a WordPad and just typing like gay, ass, dick. I'm like 4 years old, like, I'm gonna spell bitch, bitch.
Not recognized command.
No, they didn't have that. You could type it. You could type it, and you could look at the printer and print your shit out.
Back then, man.
And just so that you
stuff.
And so that you know, because you'd mentioned the 2600, Custer's Revenge currently is going for $92.
Damn,
that's it.
That's the first new game.
But if you look at that brand, you got the graded price. I mean, you got all of them. And
all right, what's Easier Shoot Larry going for?
Oh,
we'll go back to that one here. Yeah, they got so many good copies. Iron, what was your go-to?
Oh man, let's see. I liked all the, I think the first console I played, we had the Ataris. These were my older brother and cousins, but I was pretty little when we had that. So what I started playing, actually playing, was the NES. So Mario 1, 2, 3, Mike Tyson's Punch Out still is one of the best games ever made. But then something happened called Street Fighter 2. And from that day on, Street Fighter 2, Mortal Kombat, those are the games. And those I spent most of my time, if I wasn't in a comic book store, I was at the arcade. They used to have things called arcades where you had to go and socialize with other people in order to play the video game.
We don't do that here.
So mostly the fighting games. Then you had your side scroller beat 'em ups, The Simpsons, X-Men, Bad Boys, all that shit. So yeah, if thinking back to it, it'd be the old coin ops and then the games on like NES, SNES, Genesis. Didn't get a PlayStation until way down the line.
96, 97.
Fucking for me, it was like 99 when I had a job and could buy it myself.
My parents made me get a job at 15, and I saved every penny to get that fucking console.
Nice.
Yeah, same. I got my first job at 15.
I sold a bunch of Legos to get my first CD player.
Nice.
Joke's on you. Legos are worth more.
Older. It's hindsight. It's 2020. I didn't realize it at that point. And on top of that, my very first CD I ever bought is now a band I detest.
What's that?
Green Day. Green Day, Dookie.
My guess was either going to be Green Day or Rage Against the Machine.
Damn.
Yeah.
Mine was Criss Cross.
Your CD?
The first one I bought was I bought Criss Cross and MC Hammer. Please Hammer, don't hurt him. The first two I bought.
I had the Batman '89 soundtrack. That was my first CD.
Oh, nice. See, that works.
It wasn't my first.
I was cassette tape for the longest time, and it was finally when I spent my own money selling something to get CDs. So my first two CDs were the one I mentioned, Green Day, and the other one was Soundgarden, Super Unknown.
Oh, nice.
Oh, see, I always had CDs, but my dad, is quite the audiophile, so he would insist that you get CDs or you get vinyl. And then any tapes that I had were mixtapes that he made. I remember he made me a huge collection of Dr. Demento and stuff like that. So So I grew up on shit like that. But
Sammy,
My
what
dad-
was your go-to?
I was so I had a Nintendo and I also had a Sega Genesis. I eventually came across having a Super Nintendo. PlayStation came out probably when I was like 9 or 10. So like I was I had I had all those growing up, but probably the ones that I spent the most time on NES was probably either like Super Mario 3 or the original Ninja Turtles game, which you would just play for a little bit till you got to
get
the
to the
dam,
city.
and then
Yeah.
and then you die when you get to the dam.
Oh no, me it was a city. I could get the dam. It was a city I couldn't get past.
Oh yeah, no, I would
Yeah,
always
going in the
barely make it
south.
out of there, and then so then probably what Iron said with Sega Genesis, it was Mortal Kombat, Street Fighter 2, and then I remember probably one that I spent a lot of time with is they had a Death and Return of Superman, and I
great
remember
game.
being blown away how comet accurate it was for the time. That and Maximum Carnage were probably the ones that I beat into the
I was
ground the most.
about to ask if you played Maximum Carnage.
Oh yeah.
Hell yeah. Another hidden gem, kind of on that same, wavelength of those games, RoboCop versus Terminator.
Oh yeah, I had that.
Yes.
Oh wait, no, I didn't have it. I rented it quite a bit.
Yes,
It's hard to differentiate.
that ability,
Double Dragon.
that lost ability to go and rent video games.
Oh, I know.
Yep.
Well, and that was another thing too. Like my parents knew if I rented a game more than 4 times, they're like, well, let's just buy it for them.
Makes more sense.
Well, at
Strider.
the time it wasn't insane. It wasn't an insane notion. There was bargain bin ones, or they would do that too, where you would get a bargain bin game, and it ended up being a hidden gem. I remember that's how I got into Sparkster and Rocket Knight, all those games.
Nice.
So Strider, what is your go-to when you were growing up? Which again, granted, was only about a decade ago. So, what was your gaming? Sorry,
Super
hey,
Monkey Ball?
Nate's listening. Nate is listening in. So this is the things that he's missing out on, unfortunately, with having to work.
It's perfectly fine. If I'm still passing, I'm just glad I'm still getting carded at liquor stores now. I'm hanging on to that as long as I possibly can. But yeah, I'm old enough to have played. Well, I'm old enough to remember. So the SNES was my generation. We didn't have one until I was probably in elementary school, maybe a little later. And it was during the life cycle of the N64. So I'm playing 16-bit graphics or 32-bit graphics while everyone else is playing GoldenEye and Smash Bros. But we had Super Mario Brothers
with you, man.
Lost Level. We had a Super Mario Brothers The Lost Levels. I played the hell out of that. Pretty sure I still have it. I think I still have all our original games.
I remember buying my Super
Oh,
Nintendo.
so
It came
you
with a
played the
card.
original
It came
Super
with a
Mario
card.
too.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, it came with a card to get the game for free, and I sent in and got it
Nice.
for Super Nintendo.
No, it wasn't Lost Level. I'm sorry. Mario All Stars, where it had the revamped versions.
Yeah, Mario.
Yep.
Yeah.
And 1,
It had,
2, and 3, and
it
the
had
Lost Levels.
Yeah. Mario 3 was my favorite one. I don't know why the aesthetic just appealed to me. It's funny. I've never beat Mario 3 to
Because
this
it's
day.
the best one.
I've beaten
Mario
It's
3
great.
is
I love
simply
it. I love it.
the gameplay, everything about Mario 3. Those Mario, Super Mario World can fuck off. Super Mario 3.
I beat
Super
Mario
Mario
World. I 100%ed it, found all the secrets and everything, because actually one of my cousins knew everything about it, and so he taught us how to find it. It was kind of a challenge to remember.
See?
We beat it about a dozen
Everybody's
times,
beat
but
Super Mario World.
yeah, it's true.
Super Mario 3 is much more. You've got more of a challenge. There's more secrets. There's just more everything.
Yeah,
More
the drag and
randomness.
jumping's more
More to the
exact.
game.
That's why they can build all those intricate levels with the Kaizo stuff for Super
Yeah.
Mario, because
Yeah.
the mechanics are almost broken, where you can do these things that was if you were playing Mario 3, it was if you didn't have your jumps exact, you gonna die.
Yeah.
Die.
I love that game so much that this year I bought a Mario 3 ornament with the Tanuki suit. with the ears and the
right.
I
tail.
saw that one.
So,
I
like,
saw that. I almost got it.
I mean,
Almost got that
Yeah,
one.
like I have
hold
to.
on,
This
guys.
is so-
Alexa, all lights to white. I don't know if you guys.
Oh,
can
look how
see
famous
in
this
the
guy is.
background.
Just look how fancy.
Next to my Japanese Star Wars
Yeah.
poster, and the very back,
Yeah.
there's my Mario 3 poster. Just as you
Nice.
walk in.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah, I can see it. Yeah.
Yeah, but let me pull you.
Oh, there you go. So yeah, so I got my
Oh yeah, see it. Yeah,
Mario.
see it.
It's right back there.
Kind of see it. Nice.
Oh yeah, and that giant stack in front of it is unread comic books that I have.
Yeah, I got a stack like that too.
I know
I
a
went
few
on
of
an
you can agree with me
omnibus
on.
kick.
Yeah, I know a few of you can
My
like
omnibus.
can kind of, I guess, corroborate this for me. But the biggest gaming memory I have from the '80s and early '90s was The Wizard when they debuted Mario 3.
Yep.
Yep.
I remember running to
Yeah.
the rental place. There was 5 of them in my area. Only one had one copy, and it was a Japanese version where you put it in your console and you had to leave the ribbon hanging out so you can pull it out because it was such a small cart.
Yep.
And when the week before it came in, they had a list. The list was 85 names long when I finally got my name to it. So I had to wait 85 like days till I could play it.
Cycles.
And if people
Oh,
after that, you can re-rent it.
You know, that was one of the first games to like blow up, like where they were selling out, people going
Well,
insane.
it's because of the
trying to
movie.
get-
Oh yeah.
For good
Yeah.
reason.
Oh, I remember
Maybe
like
that's-
show and tell one year. Some kid like brought in like the manual for Super Mario 3, and we're like,
Speaking of
well,
which,
you got the game. That's you didn't even bring in the game.
well, that was your thing. When you couldn't play the game,
knew
you
you would
read the
steal it.
manual to try to imagine what you do. But funny story, you
Oh.
mentioned your go-tos for escapism. Like it was Mario Sunshine and Animal Crossing for me for the GameCube. But funny story,
Mario
I still have-
Sunshine was awesome.
It is. So I actually got this signed by Charles Martinet himself this like
Nice.
last year.
Cool.
And I told him like I've had this since high school. This is I've had this for 20 years, and I'm getting this signed by Charles Martinet. And I actually have the manual for it and all of the other GameCube inserts for it as well, whatever they are. And then Animal Crossing was a big one because another one, the manual, and then a bunch of other inserts for a Nintendo
Yeah.
Power subscription leaflet. And probably my favorite one because I use it frequently because my friend had it, but I didn't. The e-reader. You don't remember those?
Mhm.
God.
Oh yeah.
You can actually get NES games to play in Animal Crossing in your house. It was the coolest thing ever. I had so much fun with it.
Yeah.
I love the animal.
I,
the first
I
Animal
was working
Crossing
at
is the best one.
GameStop when Animal Crossing came out, and man, people were rabid for that shit.
The
I
first
remember
one,
bringing-
My wife
the new one
was
sucks.
all
ass. I
about
hate
it.
It's a
It's,
good escapist fun because it actually
She
feels
was
like
trying
you're
to
a part of
explain
another
it to
world.
me.
It's nice.
So when the new Animal Crossing dropped, like during COVID, she was like, "Oh, and we'll play this," and I was like, "So it's all side quests." Got it.
It's just meaningless side quests. It's just
Pretty much.
escapism, living a facsimile of real life. But the best part
Some of
about
Yeah, I was like, "Yeah, fuck Tom Nook. I already pay taxes in real life."
Yes.
which he gave you the house for free. It's like he's not pressuring you to pay anything off. Tom Nook is actually a pretty good guy.
Some
it's
of my
kinda
favorite
just-
memes are the
when they're
cartoons
saying,
of
like,
Tom
true
Nook breaking the.
communism has never been tried.
Yeah.
You need to.
Mhm.
Some of my favorite memes are the Tom Nook where he breaks the player's legs because they didn't pay it off in time,
Yeah, those are
or
good.
like he kills the player for not paying it off in time. So my favorite memes are those.
And Nate was nice enough to put in his childhood game was Spider-Man for the PS1.
Dude, I beat that game
Good.
into the ground.
Yeah,
You know,
Just
I don't think they've made a bad Spider-Man game.
I don't think they
Oh,
have.
They made some bad Spider-Man
You
movies.
play Spider-Man 2.
the NES Spider-Man game was atrocious.
Maybe the one on NES. I don't think I played that
Yeah.
one. Okay.
Yeah, that one
That was
was
horrible.
I was thinking from Maximum Carnage through current day. Even some of the ones that were kind of iffy.
Spider-Man.
like the
Spider-Man
one-
versus Kingpin on Sega was good. But yeah, Maximum Carnage was really good.
Yeah.
And then Separation Anxiety was just a knockoff of Maximum Carnage, and then there was a couple other ones on like Sega CD that like, so Spider-Man games are always kind of like state of the art games. So like as hard as they can push games, that that's how well it's gonna look. And and that's true even all the way till today. Like that's you're gonna get I think just some of the best gameplay you're gonna see is he just works, which for some reason I don't understand why Superman does not, but Spider-Man really does. But
I still remember playing the 2018 Spider-Man, grinning like an absolute idiot.
oh yeah,
First coming out of Peter's apartment. You're smack dab in the middle of New York. He jumps out a window and the game just like go. And you have no idea what to do. Here's how to swing. I was like, and you're learning how to do it. I had the biggest smile on my face. Like you could have projected a movie on it.
One of the highlights of my life. Like I just gotten my home, like I just gotten like my man cave set up, like new television, like just playing that and just going like this is like peak life for me. This
oh
is
man,
as good as
I
it's gonna
in
get.
New York. I was like, I know that place. I know that place. Finding out
about the newest,
awesome.
The sequel to that, the newest Spider-Man.
That's the one I said it was a shitty game.
Yeah, no, but
and what kills it for me is the forcing of Miles into the main storyline, which I can understand. But at the end, when they forced the Peter retirement,
and
Sony says Miles are Spider-Man going forward.
You turn Mary Jane into Lois Lane just because.
And you get those stupid Metal Gear Solid levels where you got to sneak around.
Or something?
Yeah, they do.
And they made her ugly.
She's not a reporter.
Big old Bruce Campbell chin.
She looks
there
like
were some cool things about that game where now you could travel the whole city and like leave areas. There were no loading screens in that game.
The first one was superior, and the way that Peter looked.
The first one
like
was superior. And then unfortunately Miles Morales was basically DLC. You can beat that game in one sitting. I remember playing it going like, hey, it's not bad. And then they're like, do you want the Black Lives Matter suit? And I was like, I'll pass. I'm okay.
What, you didn't like the exaggerated swagger of a black teen? Racist.
No, I love how and they always have to fucking do this where I was like, so like they had like the Spider-Man theme from the original 2018 game, but it was like, now this is Black Spider-Man. So it was like they had like the
some beats.
And you're like, oh god damn it.
That's something I've noticed actually. Whenever a movie features black people in any capacity at all, as a mainline character, it's always some kind of rap or hip hop soundtrack. Like, are you? It's one of I never noticed that before. And then someone
or unfortunately
you had to get all the stolen instruments from like the Harlem Jazz Museum. You're like, come on.
I think the African drums were just hitting too hard on the nose on those.
No, they were.
Okay, so with me for mine, it kind of ranges a little bit. I didn't have a specific favorite game. I had a couple that I played a lot, and while I grew up originally with a 2600 Atari, I never was a huge fan of the Atari system, but Super Nintendo, it was Dragon Warrior, the first Dragon Warrior. I played so much of that game. And then for PC was a mix between Wolfenstein 3D and Doom. Nice. Those two are kind of my go-to.
I guess if I had to pick a go-to, I used some money and bought SNES. I got Link to the Past.
Good one.
And
Nice.
I played the game probably 80 times. And then when the Lost Highway soundtrack came out, there was an 9 Inch Nails song called The Perfect Drug on it. For some reason, it feels very gothic in that era for some reason. So I would play that game and have that song on repeat while playing that game for hours.
Cool.
and smoking.
Did anyone
weed.
have like a game that they were like stuck with? Like, so I remember you didn't realize that you were playing like a broken ass game. So I remember someone bought me Batman Forever for
Oh God.
for Sega
Sega
Genesis.
CD?
Mine for me it's actually a card game that I've got stuck with, but I always had to play with it because of my grandma loved the game, and that's a game called Skip-Bo.
Yeah.
No idea.
Yeah. I never
hate
played
that game so
Skip-Bo.
much.
We had the
Yeah.
deck at our house for the longest time, but I never played
That
it.
and Phase 10. I don't like Phase 10 either.
You don't like Phase 10?
Too busy playing Dutch Blitz.
Phase 10
But my
takes too
favorite-
long.
Overall, one of my favorite board games wise is Monopoly. I never could win. I always got my ass kicked, but I enjoyed it.
Yeah, I enjoyed Monopoly.
Monopoly. Oh God. Just
Operation.
that's just like
Iron.
hey, let's
Iron.
get the family
know you.
together and fight.
I believe it's called Monopoly.
Monopoly. Yeah,
Yes.
that makes more sense. Now I understand.
I mean, we kind of had family game night, and we weren't Mormons, so I mean, it is kind of surprising. It usually was like kind of Friday nights with the standard Pizza Hut pizza, which is unfortunately garbage now, and or I just have bad taste when I was younger, and it's always been bad. I don't.
No,
they
Pizza
call it
Hut
pizza.
was way better.
No, pizza used to be good. Like right when
Yeah.
I started working there was when they started switching everything over. They switched from the hand tossed was actually hand tossed. Like my first week there, and then they're like, "Yo, you're done with training. Guess what? We're not doing any of that shit. It's a frozen disc. You spray it with cooking spray.
I remember
Then you put
going
it
there.
on the thing, and that's it."
I remember going there one time, and one of the promos was for that cartoon Pirates of Dark Water, and
Fuck yeah, great show.
That
one
was
of the
such a good
things that
show.
came with the pizza was like the amulet that the guy wore.
Yep.
Seriously?
And like
Yep.
yeah, and I just remember like running around in my backyard, just like just pretending, I was like, that was like the highlight of my fucking summer, man. And
I
it
was
like,
from
I
New
think
York,
it was
so we never
the
really
same
ordered
time like
Pizza Hut.
7-Eleven was giving out the skull ring from the Phantom, and I was like, oh, I'm just getting all the cool
Oh,
shit.
nice. Do you remember when Pizza Hut was giving away the VHS tapes for X-Men the animated series?
Yes.
And
Oh, yeah, I
yes.
remember
Yes.
that.
What?
had
I know
interviews
something.
with
Yeah.
Rob
Oh,
Liefeld, fucking Jim Lee, and you'd watch the 1 or 2 episodes per VHS, and then it would go to like the interview, but you had to get all the VHSs to actually see the complete interview.
There was I remember
Yeah.
there was one. That's when I
still got
realized
'em.
that Stan Lee like wasn't he didn't realize that Wolverine was a mutant, and he was interviewing like Len Wein, and he's like, and would he be a mutant if he didn't have those claws? And Len Wein's like, yeah, he would. Like,
Yeah, that's kind of why he is a mutant, Stan. What I love about that's where Stan actually confirms that there was no, like civil rights,
Yeah.
allegory.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He just couldn't think of any reason to give these guys.
Yeah.
It's just
That
the
was
most expedient option.
and I was
Like, how do we
just
justify
feeling
everybody's back?
radioactivity. So I thought, well,
Ah,
what
Great
if
Stan, by the way.
Good.
No,
You
he
know,
wanted to make
another-
he wanted to give a guy angel wings, and he
Yep.
liked the idea of taking Human Torch and making him with ice powers.
Yep.
And then you had to figure everything else out along the way.
Angel, he goes, when you look at Superman, he just flies.
Yeah.
That's uncanny.
It was like I love it. It was like and everyone else was like, well, it actually wasn't built on Martin Luther King or Malcolm X. It was these two Jewish like civil rights guys, and then like you talk to Stan Lee and he was like,
No.
and then I saw a fly on the wall, and then you're like, oh, okay, so this guy is just like totally checked out. He doesn't give a fuck at all. Like he was like, there is no like greater meaning. He was just like, oh, that looks cool.
No,
you
it was Chris Claremont that inserted a lot of that, a little bit of the allegory, but even that, he said it got blown way out of proportion. People,
Oh yeah,
drew
I mean,
way too much
Yeah,
into it.
there's
you
certainly
you had
parallels. It's
storylines
not a
like God
one-to-one.
Loves Man Kills, where you're like, okay,
Mhm.
you know, like I see what you're doing, like you're cooking on this, and then people just fucking ran with it. But now you have like these really pedantic assholes who have to overlay and add
Oh,
these
yeah.
things into
It's
like
always
every
been
they get
in
mad
sort of
when
my
you don't have
your
stories.
opinion. Yeah.
It's the
Mhm.
same group that have said, "Oh, Star Trek was always woke."
And it was like, oh no, it
And
wasn't.
it's like, no.
That's because these people can't tell the
Mhm.
difference between woke and actually legitimately pushing forward society. It
Absolutely,
wasn't woke
absolutely.
to put fucking Uhura on
Yeah.
the freaking bridge of the Enterprise. It was a push forward for society into a better future. The whole idea behind everything with Trek, Roddenberry said over and over again, was, I believe technology can lead to a better future where there is no disparity between people, and therefore all truly are equal. No illiteracy.
Yeah, Roddenberry was
no-
also a communist, so
Well,
Not
it is
really.
a communist utopia, but it's actually it kind of frees the human characters up to explore some much more interesting concepts than anything anyone from nowadays
It
can.
was more along the lines of like the idea of the Edo period, because he was very interested in history and how it would perform to the future. If you don't have any wars, if you
Right.
don't have anybody fighting, people actually spend their time looking at science and art and engineering and all these things that you. War pushes technology
pretty
forward.
commie.
It doesn't push society forward or culture forward.
I just wanted to see Shatner's face when he realizes he was going to kiss Uhura on the. He was, oh my! I'm.
Oh no! Oh,
You
bummer.
probably rubbed one out. You know, you probably rubbed one out. It's like, yeah.
Oh,
oh
bummer.
yeah.
Gotta
And
go
then-
Finally!
From
Did
the-
you
from the-
follow him on
from-
X?
Oh,
Because
no.
he's hilarious.
Yeah.
The thing about it
Especially
is
this one for a
when
year,
it
he has been on fire.
now
Yeah,
whether we believe this
he's
from the
awesome.
stories that have come out from the set during that episode, is that he I believe he claims he had a hand in it.
Yeah.
In that kiss. It's like
He's
he
"Hi,
wanted
Jungle
he wanted
Fever." Sorry.
Can I have an excuse to kiss my really pretty co-star? I can't. Yes.
Now I want you to do the intro. Because Sammy's doing the voice.
No.
I want you to do the intro to Star Trek and the Stan Lee voice.
Oh,
you heard the rumor that there actually
curveball.
exists somewhere a unaired episode of the TV show Batman with Adam West where William Shatner played Two-Face.
Yeah.
No, it was
Really?
going to be Clint Eastwood.
It was going to be Clint Eastwood.
It was going to be
Okay.
Clint Eastwood, and they deemed the costume too upsetting
Scary or something.
for family viewing. Shatner. Everybody thinks it's Shatner because he voiced him. Because they ended up taking that storyline in the Batman '66 comics, and then they did their
And then
own
the animated
thing.
movie,
And I'm
which
glad
is
that they
actually
did those
really good.
cartoons with Adam West and Burt Ward. It was
Oh, I
it
am
was
too.
really refreshing to hear them back, because like the voices, they might have Burt Ward was a little bit more noticeable, but Adam West still sounded
Yeah.
great.
He sounded exact.
Yeah, I know. I was like, so how he got his audition for Family Guy is Seth MacFarlane called Adam West, and he's like, Adam, what are you doing right now? And he goes, I'm pouring dog food into a bowl. And he's like, you got the job.
Well, he worked with Adam West on either Johnny Bravo or one of the kids shows that he did that, where
Family
Adam
Guy.
West played in a psychotic version of his Batman character, Catman.
Okay.
I can't remember which cartoon it was.
I think it was.
I remember
Oh, was it? I think it was. Do I think it was?
It was something Hanna-Barbera.
Yeah.
Yeah, no Cartoon
I
Network.
think
It was
it's
either
Space
John.
Ghost.
I think I'm almost sure it was Johnny Bravo.
Okay.
But before I
That was
Family Guy,
this,
he's got
we
a-
were talking about the original series, and they always talked about what's his face oh my what's his name
George Takei.
That
George
tape
Takei.
player.
So they
George
talked, he was
Takei.
like William used to pick on me because I was Japanese and gay. I was like, I think he just used to pick on you because you're a fag. Like, I've seen Shatner's Twitter. Like, he's pretty wide open. Like, he seems like just like a good
That's
dude.
pretty progressive. Like,
You just seem to be an insufferable fag.
And here,
like,
George
And he
Takei
was
hides
shell.
behind his identity for being a complete insufferable little prick. He's an
yeah,
asshole.
it's so lame.
I'm not
That
saying
was-
William
that was-
Shatner's not, but let's see.
Yeah, no, everybody else, and we did talk about like that was a very, very forward-thinking show, and like I just think you're a dipshit, dude. I think I really
Also,
don't
he was
think.
constantly trying to find excuses to be without his shirt and obsessed with showing his ability to fence. That's why in 3 different episodes, like there's the episode where they get the disease that supposedly makes them all act drunk.
Oh yeah,
There's the episode from Mirror Mirror from the other universe, and there's something else where he's constantly trying to be without his shirt and to show that he can swing a sword. And it's like, dude, we get it. You're gay. Okay.
yeah.
This
You're
is
into
the sword
Fairbanks.
I'm
We got it.
swinging. Oh,
Yeah.
Come on, Shatner. I want to play swords.
Yeah.
Let's have a
Oh,
sword
God.
fight.
Talking, William.
It's funny. That was probably one of the funniest Jonathan
what?
Winter jokes. He was doing a prop. He was doing a prop thing. He puts on a really big flamboyant, because Jonathan Winters is basically proto Robin Williams. So he puts on this big old hat with a huge plume coming out of it. And he turns out, I don't remember, it may have been Johnny Carson he's turning, and she goes, "Let's play swords." Like the gayest voice ever. Like, died. It's like, man, that's like ripped right out of Robin Williams' playbook, but actually Robin Williams ripped a lot of Jonathan.
Yeah.
A lot from Jonathan.
You
Winter.
know what was another good tie-in?
Robin Williams was incredible, but yeah, he was
Yes.
an emulator. He would,
Yeah.
he
Just-
you know,
just-
yeah, I don't know. Very
Another
very
good tie-in with Pizza Hut I loved was fucking Back to the Future 2. The son with
about
the
it?
glasses. Another tie-in with Pizza Hut I liked was Back to the Future
Oh.
2 tie-in. The sunglasses and the circles with the
yeah.
little like hat brims on top.
Yeah.
The other 3 pairs. That like if you like, I tried to find a pair of those glasses. They're like $50 on eBay right now.
Wow.
Not surprised by that.
Yeah,
Man, movie tie-ins for
So-
like fast food restaurants were the bomb. They're awesome.
Yeah,
So there's now it's great that you say that, because then actually gives a segue into this, and it's growing up. What was your favorite, or what was the best game tie-in? So in other words, game relating to a movie or TV. Which one was your favorite?
What about going backwards the other way? Because if I remember
Wait.
correctly, Carmen Sandiego came out as a game before it came out as a TV show.
Correct.
yeah,
Yeah, it can be that way too. It can be either direction.
Yeah.
Either a game that was your favorite that was from a TV show or movie, or vice versa.
Okay, so-
a movie or TV show that was based on the game.
I got it. I got it. So there's a director. His name's Uwe Boll. No,
Get out.
kidding. I'm sorry.
So
man.
he's in timeout.
shame on you.
I hope you've learned your lesson.
It's The Wizard. The Wizard movie was my favorite tie-in. It was everything I wanted as a kid. Like I wanted to be Fred Savage in that movie.
I think everybody wanted to be one of the Savages at one point.
Well, now Fred Savage doesn't even want to be Fred Savage.
Yeah.
I don't know why
let's
this
see.
is coming up,
That's a
but
good question. I don't remember.
in college, freshman year of college, this guy had this poster in his room, and it was basically someone just had this very crudely drawn picture of Fred Savage's head on a loaf of Wonder Bread, and
Okay.
it just said Bread Savage, the Wonder Bread years, and we would just like smoke weed and
Yeah,
just laugh at
boo.
this poster forever. And like every now and then, like we'd be like
fun is
drunk or
obvious.
something, and someone would look over at us and go, "Bread Savage," and then we would all start cracking up because like there was only like 5 people who knew what the hell he was talking about.
I gotta see if this poster still exists.
Okay, I remember the Cars tie-in. That game was actually pretty fun. The Finding Nemo video game was actually was a lot of fun.
They're coming out with a sequel.
Broken as hell.
They have another sequel to Finding Nemo coming out.
Why?
Seriously?
You
Yeah,
already
it's called
found
Eating.
Nemo. You found Dory.
It's
Wait.
called Eating Nemo.
I'm about to say you're gonna do that.
Yeah. Overall, the tie-in growing up, one of them was the side-scrolling beat 'em up, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2.
Oh,
I
yeah,
remember
great.
that one.
For Nintendo.
Yeah.
Oh,
Batman
yeah, I
wasn't
was
bad
gonna
on
say
Genesis.
Turtles in Time.
Oh, Turtles in Time's a
Turtles in
classic.
Time.
Man.
Oh, I do remember there was a bunch of
Turtle
puzzles that came in. It was a bunch of Nintendo puzzles that was in partnership. Oh my god!
It was a Teen Beat? Really?
That's
This is
so
as
awful.
close as I can
Wow.
find.
Dude,
This is just
Whoa.
a site called Bread People.
no,
Why?
Teen Beat on top of it.
But it was a Taco Bell.
I-
There's a bunch of puzzle games. Like they had a pyramid Mario like maze, and they had another. Actually, this was actually kind of cool. A Donkey Kong 3D maze, but it was a tree. So you move DK up in a barrel and move it in a certain path, and move it up and down the tree. I remember that. A lot of stuff like that. I remember the Nintendo stuff was pretty cool.
I remember the Sonic the Hedgehog Saturday morning cartoon, not the original like zany one,
Yeah.
but like the first one
With
based on the
Archie comics.
Urkel. Urkel's the voice.
Yeah,
Yeah,
well,
Joe White.
he was the voice in both, but yeah, the one
Mhm.
where they had like Sally Acorn and Robotnik and Uncle Chuck, R.I.P.
Yeah.
Uncle Chuck.
Mhm.
Uncle Chuck,
You
he was
just
the real
unlocked a
one.
core memory because I think there were some Sonic the
That shit was
Hedgehog toys, and I remember
dark
seeing
as
Dr.
fuck.
Robotnik. I had a Dr. Robotnik toy that they handed down for some reason. I didn't even know what it was.
Yeah,
it was. There was what,
I
there was
actually have a
Sonic
lot
and
of
Tails
those.
that was the Sonic and Tails that was like a launch toy. So you hooked it up, but it rocketed across the room on wheels. So you hooked it up and then pushed the button, then pressed then punched something down. It rocketed across the room. Oh my god!
Yeah,
You just unlocked a core
I
memory.
had
That's
those.
insane.
I had those. But I
that.
remember that being like the first like tie-in shit where not only was it like expanding off of the original property, but it was like lore building. Where you're like, oh, so this hedgehog on another planet like enjoys like chili dogs and
Yep.
they're actually freedom fighters. He's not.
Mhm.
I often wonder, when you look at the humble beginnings of Sonic the Hedgehog, did this young Japanese creator know that he was going to give rise to some of the worst sexual deviance on the
Oh
internet?
my god.
His little blue hedgehog
I don't
character.
understand that.
That really does spawn from the Archie comics, which were
just-
good. That guy was
I just want to
creep.
make him run fast.
No
was
furry
made up.
sex, only fast.
And on top of that, and the whole point too is it was a good representation of capitalism, chasing after gold rings, making a profit. I mean,
Yes.
so was
coloring,
Mario. I mean, a plumber.
Yeah, well,
that
no,
is
and
going
then
and
you had a
collecting
bad guy who
coins.
wanted to assimilate you and make you a robot.
Mhm.
That was, I get it, and all this
So,
guy just
The
Sonic
story
the
of
Hedgehog
Gold.
fights
Got it. I like
communism. Star Trek is communism. Got it.
You brought up Taco Bell and the Donkey Kong thing. It reminded me of the Burger King tie-in with Xbox. They had the King video games, the Burger King, the creepy guy in the mask.
Oh yeah.
My favorite
oh,
game I've ever played was called Sneak King. You literally like ran
I
around
remember
the neighborhood with the big fucking fuck off head, and you like hide and watch people do shit.
well, the
You know,
pinnacle
you
of
definitely
all
a
of
design
that-
from Hollywood.
You can give them
That's
food
called
without them seeing.
Yeah.
So the pinnacle of all this is probably like the McDonald's like Batman Returns toys, right? Because that was definitely not a movie that was meant for kids. As a kid, I was born in '87, so like there were so many Saturday morning cartoons and toy lines based on
Oh, yeah.
property that I could not watch. It was like, oh, Toxic Avenger. Can I see the movie? My dad's like, no. You
No.
can't watch it. No.
You watch a
Terminator,
cartoon
can I
without
watch
the movie.
No, you can't see that. RoboCop, can I see that? No. Why?
Mhm.
Why do you think you can watch RoboCop? And they were like, because
Well, it's the same thing. The toys that were marketed for like Terminator
And
or
both of those-
Aliens.
yeah.
I
Both
mean,
those IPs you mentioned, Sammy,
Rambo
had
had his own like
cartoons.
toy line and Saturday morning cartoon.
Rambo
but I
had
was like,
Rambo, RoboCop, and Toxic Avenger all had their own Saturday morning cartoons.
yeah, they did.
Well, it
And
was
I
funny
saw them
because
all.
I didn't have
And-
any of those games. I never had those games. I never had any of those things. But my parents got separated when I was 4. So when I was like 6 or 7, 8, when those movies came out, my dad would let me watch movies I was not should not have been able to watch at my age.
Yep.
So I saw Toxic Avenger. I saw RoboCop. All the times when you guys
So
wanted
I
to see
was
them because you knew the games, I didn't know the games existed, but I saw the
them. That's
movies.
because my buddies got divorced. My buddy's parents got
Mhm.
divorced. So,
I-
we used to
when
call
I
him
w-
Robbie Two Christmases.
When I
And,
was- when I was 5 or 6, freaking Freddy Krueger, the TV show, Nightmare on Elm Street, the TV
Oh,
show
yeah.
came out,
Yeah.
and my dad would let me watch it. Except the thing was, so if I got scared, he gave me one of those little cap gun thingies that you put, you put the snappers in,
Oh, yeah.
and it's like a little
Oh, yeah.
revolver. He
Yeah.
was like, if you get scared, shoot the bad guy and he'll go away. Because the TV show, by the time you load the stupid thing and you shoot the guys off the screen. So my dad taught me if I use my cap gun, I could make the bad guys to go off the screen.
That's clever.
and see,
People
that is
wonder why I wanted to
that
be a
is
Marine.
that is the proper training of how to use a firearm, and that needs to and that's why we're having such problems nowadays. Is that doesn't happen.
Yeah.
I agree.
Like, I went shooting last night for the first time in probably a year. And I was like, I'm kind of ashamed of how out of practice I am here. Damn.
yeah, I'm
So,
I had a
If-
godfather who would let me watch
when
all
the
that
weather
shit.
gets up, I'm taking my mother
Yeah.
clay shooting. She's always been very like anti-gun. Not anti-gun, but just like she never I'm a huge advocate of having firearms in the house, and
Same.
her father was a Detroit police detective, and so anytime she got near her dad's gun, he was like, that's not for so like it was just she was just raised in a different
Yeah.
era. Women weren't
Yeah.
supposed to be around guns, all
Yeah.
that. And she's like, well, why did you get a gun? And I was like, I remember I was out of town, and my wife thought there was someone in the house, and I was like, wow, if only there was this device could
Is my boom
even
stick.
the odds. Yeah. So
Yeah.
and she's like, well, I guess I understand that. And I was like, would you ever want to go shooting? And she's like, I don't know. I was like, well, we don't have to shoot. We can shoot like targets, or I would love that. So yeah, I'm taking my 60-some-year-old mother out as soon as the weather breaks to
Nice.
Nice.
shoot
I
clay
took my
pigeons.
mom shooting last year for the first time. Similar thing, like my dad's whole family's backwoods Pennsylvania hunters. So on his side, like I got my hands on my first gun when I got a BB gun for Christmas when I was 7, and that was the same year I got to shoot the 45 for the first time.
Oh,
My
I
mom
got the BB gun.
never
I
had a
wasn't allowed
weapon
to
in the
keep it in the house. I had to leave it at my uncle's house. Which made sense because he was the one who always took me hunting and stuff like that.
Yeah.
See,
So
So yeah, similar thing.
Here in
But
the
see, my
South,
mom, no weapons. But
here in the
last year,
South,
I got her to
you were-
shoot, and she had fun.
you were given a gun at 4, probably a BB gun. You were given a shotgun, probably a 410 or at 6 or 7 years old. And when you were given the gun, you kept it in your room with you.
see,
Behind it, my
you
dad's
house
don't
has
understand. I
special-
was like, it depends on what area of Michigan you were in, because they're very, like they're
No,
very
like not- Where I grew
I-
up in Michigan, it was not unheard of for students to come and the gun is in the gun rack in their truck because they were going to go
Absolutely.
hunting after school.
Many times I went hunting before school, went to school in our fucking camos, still smelling like the fucking marshes, and covered in deer blood or whatever we shot, duck blood or whatever, with our guns in the fucking truck and went to class.
Yeah.
I was waiting for you to say, and that's what I had for lunch that day.
We would sometimes we would if we shot early, like 2 a.m, we got them really early, we'd go home, cook them up, and bring our lunch that day.
Nice.
That would be dope, actually.
If someone
So-
did that to the school I went to high school at, the entire school would lock down and people would be screaming.
That's how it is now everywhere.
See, I never understood the joys of hunting until I got my first kill, and then we finally
You danced around in its
What'd you
blood
shoot?
and put
yeah,
cut the head off and put it on your
once everything
head
was
and
gutted and chopped up, and it was like we got it back, and we're sitting in my uncle's cabin, and I was like, so what? And he's like, now we feast. And I was like, oh, okay, I got it now. All right.
Look, I had the scariest moment. I think I was 6, but we went hunting. I shot a bunny with my Daisy BB gun. That had his rifle. I shot it. So I hit it, boom, dead. Had it by its hind legs. No, it's by its ears. It was a place my grandparents had in Mississippi. We walked like a mile and a half to get back to the camp. We're about, I would say 30, 40 yards away from the front of the camp. It was a trailer off the ground, and it had wooden steps. So it was like the wooden step and the vertical spot was all with wood plank.
Mm-hmm.
About 30, 40 yards, the fucking rabbit it jumps. I knocked it out. I didn't kill it. I screamed and dropped it. It ran towards the fucking camp, head first into the wood, and broke its neck.
Oh, no.
I was like, I'm never hunting again. I'm never doing this again. I'm 6 years old crying. Oh my god.
Growing up in the
that
40s
lasted like
sounds
2 weeks. I
wild.
was hunting again 2 weeks later. Huh?
Oh, I just said growing
What
up
you
in the 1940s sounds pretty wild.
it does.
By the way, if you say kill,
Same age,
if you
bitch.
killed a rabbit, don't say you killed a bunny. So, even though the two are it's semantics.
Lenny.
Hey, when the winter comes and you can't get the buggy hitched to get to the market, you got to do what you got to do to survive.
Especially when that market is 5 miles away.
Right.
So it's going to
Uphill
take
both
all
ways in
day
the
to get
snow.
there.
Automobiles
Uphills in
were
the
starting to be a
ways.
thing in my small town. In Grover's Corners.
I can't remember who was saying this. They said the working title for Of Mice and Men was called The Dangerous Retard.
Was that real?
No, but this is hilarious.
I don't know. That's funny. I'm extremely gullible. by the
Yeah,
way.
Steinbeck. He's like, oh,
I hate Steinbeck.
If books
So
were,
do I.
liberal,
Yeah, you definitely don't want to hear the actual original title of To Kill a Mockingbird.
No.
Okay, so obviously the worst tie-in ever for games. Obviously, what killed originally the first run of video games was obviously
Yes,
the
absolutely.
ET incident. But in more of the gaming when we were growing up, what do you think was the worst tie-in?
Anything that had that fucking rainbow on it.
that's true today.
Oh, LJN.
Yeah, LJN.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Anything
I had no
LJN had on it besides Maximum Carnage was garbage. I mean, it was and they picked up so many good properties. Where
What's LGN?
LGN is
It was a developer.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but it was like a conglomerated developer where they would take these much smaller developing houses and put it under this one uniform insignia. But what they would do is they were almost like Canon Films, where they would just sit around and do cocaine, and then go like, "Yeah, I'll buy Back to the Future, or I'll buy Spider-Man, or any one of these." And don't get me wrong, there was other ones. So like when you look at like Sunsoft's Batman on NES. Great game, right?
Oh yeah.
Fantastic. And then like you'll look, and then you'll see another Batman game, and it's got that LJN on there, and it's garbage. And that's because a lot of these developers were not equipped to deal with like the top of the line, or I guess what we would call like AAA gaming at the time, because they were usually startups. Or they were games that made like Bible games, and they were trying to break into the mainstream. So you would get these really rudimentary games, and it was like, so like when you play like Back to the Future, and you're like, oh, or Bill and Ted is a great one, where it is just a horrendous game. You're like, this has nothing to do with the. Most of these guys like saw the poster for the movie and were like, well, that'll have to do.
Game.
Yeah.
'Cause,
There's
you
an
know,
idea.
they made Back to the Future and was like, okay, well, we can't do anything with the time travel aspect. We'll just put Marty on his skateboard, and you have to collect stopwatches. And if you don't like that,
To be fair, the
Okay.
people making the games were the same people in Indonesia making the Indonesia movie posters. It made no
Yeah.
sense.
yeah,
Movie
yeah,
poster.
exactly. Yeah, no, there was like the same people making the cartridges were also making the games.
Oh,
They,
Now,
they would
great
code on one
video
side,
game.
turn it the other side, and put them together.
tie-in that
Yep.
was completely unexpected, but rocked on every different version it was on. Well, I think it was just the Genesis. It was a launch title with the Genesis, and there was an arcade game, and that's Michael fucking Jackson's Moonwalker.
Yep,
Yeah.
that was
Great
Genesis,
fucking
Sega only. Yep.
Yep, the Sega Genesis.
Yeah.
It was a
There
launch
There was a
title.
Michael
And then-
Jackson video
and then
game. That's
the-
cool.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
and then the arcade game too. There was
Based on the movie
arcade
Moonwalker.
It was
Yeah.
even better. That one was never released on any consoles, but
And,
you can
yep,
find it
and,
on
and
emulator. It's
Michael would
great.
find like a little kid in a trunk, and he'd go like, "Woo!" And then you're like,
Yeah, and you save the kids and everything. Then if you catch
them
Bubbles,
to
you
Never
turn
Never
into a
Land.
goddamn transformer.
"Oh my god, oh my god!" And I will say, there were times where, because you know how you can go to like settings and then go through like the soundtracks, where I would just
Mhm.
listen to those 16-bit versions of the Michael Jackson songs.
Yeah.
So I'm like, this is peak humanity, baby. This is as good as it gets.
Yeah, they had all of them. They had Smooth Criminal, Beat It,
Yeah.
Bad.
Yep.
Fucking every level was kind of based on one of the music videos. It was fucking great.
Well, to now go to that segment was sponsored by Kick Him Off.
Pocket pencil sharpener. When you need to sharpen a pencil, or when you find a piece of wood, you don't have a knife, you can whittle it down to a point. And back in my day, we used to buy candies for a penny, and you could just like just scare the little kids with your little stories of how you bought cigarettes for your parents when you were 5 at the store because they didn't want to leave the house. You walked through the street to the store, bought their cigarettes and whiskey.
At
Boy,
the
the Tony
pharmacy.
sound
Pencil
great.
sharpener.
Daddy, what was the Civil War like?
No, like for like in
remember
the
Great
80s
War?
in this area,
Yeah.
the little mom and pop little grocery stores that would pop up. They you walked in, if they knew your mom and dad, you're like, I need a pack of Marlboro Reds and a case of Bud Light, and they'd be like, all right, yep, here you go. Give them $20. and
Were
I'd
you
pay
there
for
when
all of it,
George
and you'd
Bailey's
leave.
brother went through the ice?
Right?
Oh man, I remember being sent in a pirogue down up the bayou. My mom was like, I don't want to go to the store. I was too young to drive. She's like, just here, take this 20, go buy me some cigarettes. Go down to Collins Big Stars, like 3 miles up the road. I had to paddle fucking 3 miles because I didn't know where to get there.
Uphill both
Across
ways
the
in
bayou
snow?
to get it, and then come back. And she was like, oh, they gave me a problem. I was like, no, they knew you, so they just let me take it.
Okay, here's
then
another
Nam
thing
happened
that
and everything
people in our
changed.
generation will remember. When your dad had to go like do something, he'd be like, sit in the car,
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
just wait.
Oh, yeah.
He's drinking the bar. You're just sitting in there waiting.
Yeah.
I
If
almost
it gets
died
hot,
because
roll
of
the
that.
window down.
I almost died. So my dad had a single cab truck, and I was an infant in a car seat. It wasn't strapped in. So my grandparents owned my mom's parents owned a restaurant and bar across the highway. Then there's the highway, then like a little like shell parking lot that kind of sloped into the bayou. It stopped. And so they had just installed some telephone poles as stops. So when you're pulling forward, you wouldn't go off the side when you park. So my dad goes inside to drink, and he's drinking like an hour or so. And again, it was like 1980. So the brakes went out. The brake went out in the truck. So it just slid back. It rolled across the road, rolled down the parking lot. And if they hadn't installed those poles, the truck would have gone into the bayou. When my dad walked out and saw the truck across the street, he ran. My car seat was sitting in the seat. It fell forward, and the dashboard caught it. I'm hanging there by the straps. I'm like maybe 3 months old.
See, now what's
That-
really bad is that I had a
That
great
is
joke.
harrowing.
Right.
I had a great joke lined up, but he had to say 1980 in there.
Yeah.
You were gonna make a
I
joke
didn't know they
about
made
phone
car
lines
seats
this
for Model
weekend,
Ts.
didn't you?
Yeah.
They weren't phone lines, they were telegraph
He's
lines.
purposely giving us the dates so we can't fuck with him.
I know. I
You
mean,
guys,
that's
I'm on to
Yeah,
y'all.
he's like, luckily,
He also,
Fred
he also
Flintstone was
just
able
told
to
one
put
of
his
the most
feet down.
depressing stories I've ever heard, and now the whole mood is.
Yeah. Yeah, it was like you told us like a Dust Bowl-esque story.
I think it's hilarious. I should be dead.
It's hilarious, but it's also like
Grateful
terrifying.
you're not.
Who else has a enjoyable story about child neglect?
so back in the early 80s, you had the child walkers that had the casters, and you put the baby inside and you walk around. Yeah, I rode that down the stairs. Now the thing about it is
so
that
much.
I didn't learn the first time.
Oh,
I did it again.
Nice.
That explains even more. No, I did. I think I did save my brother. I did save my little brother from drowning. I think my mom. We're at a big family event at a creek near my my grandma's house out in Oklahoma, and we're on like a pretty large. Yeah, me and my brother were on a pretty large like floaty thing, like one of those things you pull behind a ski, like you pull behind a pontoon.
Yeah.
But it was flipped over, so we couldn't get in it. So we're just hanging off it, having fun, and then it kind of floated away with the current. And all of a sudden, I saw my brother kind of sunk under, and his hands were waving up. So I like call out to I'm holding on for dear life trying to get him. And I remember I'm calling over to my mom. She's like, I remember hearing her go, "Oh Jesus!" and keep just dash over and save it. It wasn't a funny story, but I'm like, okay, well, she says I saved him because I don't remember shouting, but she says I shouted, so must have done it.
Well, and he lived. He just could never pronounce vowels the same again.
I forgot math.
He's doing better than I am. He's got a kid now. That's the cutest little fucker. But yeah.
Well,
Does that really mean you're doing better?
That's just
really?
evolution. They know that if they're not going to be smart, they got to be cute. Survival tactic.
Well, it was interesting enough because I was the well-behaved one. He was the dick. He was disrespectful. He mouthed off to my parents, and no, actually, he mouthed off to my mom, not to my dad. He knew better, but yeah, he'd mouth off to me. He's the problem middle child.
Younger brother or older brother?
I'm the oldest, so he's the middle.
Oh yeah, same. My younger brother was like he'd mouth off to every fucking body.
See,
but he's like almost a preacher now, so he grew up better than all of us.
So that's super annoying.
Right. We're not gonna talk about where mine is right now.
So overall, and what I'm hearing is this is just life imitating art. In the case of Strider, he was living out the in the air tonight. So
Yeah.
Oh man.
It almost man, that kind of reminds me of Butterfly Effect. Remember that fucking movie with
Ashton
like the
Kutcher?
one time he comes back and the little asshole kid is like this found Jesus, everybody loves him. He's like, no, you're a fucking monster. You're a psychopath.
No, this was like in where they've been doing those South Park specials where they win this super and Cartman's a rabbi.
Oh yeah. Post COVID.
Yeah.
Oh,
This is my wife, Yentl.
And one of his kids is literally a Cartman when he was younger. The other one still look yeah. And both of the other kids still kind of look
sitting on the other side of the wall and he's banging his wife. He's like, you what you got? David was gonna sacrifice his only son.
And fucking all the kids are so well behaved, but they gradually just can't stand him more and more. They turn into Cartman.
It is one. It is.
Fuck you, Calf.
It was one of the best twists.
Mm-hmm. And then after they change the past, he's like a fucking homeless piece of shit.
Yeah, you get the true trajectory.
We'll figure out a way to bring your family back, Cartman.
Yeah. That was amazing.
Oh god.
All we know is it was all in the end. We all know that C-19 was all because of Randy fucking Pangolin. So
Yeah.
Yep.
Mickey Mouse
What?
on crack with
I wanna-
I'm
Mickey
still,
Mouse.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
I want to get full
And-
circle for a second. We talked about the video rental stores. Remember though? Remember we talked about that
Oh
earlier?
yeah.
So I got when I got my first Nintendo. It was for Christmas. I got ice hockey, and my brother got something. But after that, my mom and dad was like, $50 is too expensive for a game. So we would only get to buy games when the video store would sell their games for like $1. They would get new games in, so they'd sell the old carts.
Mhm.
Oh yeah.
Or like if the cart would be too many kids would be like they'd ran it, come back 2 days later. Oh, it didn't work. I need my money back, and they give money back. But the kids were just lying, so they thought the carts were broken. So they buy new ones, sell the old ones, and the kids who would like lie would go snatch the old one up for like $1. That's what we weren't returning the carts, but we would know when the sales are happening, so we'd go and we'd buy as many games as
I
we
was
could for like
huge on
$1.
that. I was huge on that.
Yeah.
Yep. The video
Same thing with
rental
movies,
place.
too. You know, like
Mhm.
I
Oh,
would
yeah, I
I would
always
always go and see what's in the
I
you know,
still
go to
do.
the local Blockbuster or like Video Update
Uh-huh.
and see what was in the bargain bin and be like, I just got, like 5 movies for $10.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
The place I rented from, it was a mom and pop's place, but it was a nice, like bigger one too. They had everything. It was originally a record store, and then they bought the property next to it in the shopping mall and expanded into movies, VHS, DVDs, and then video games. But they had a whole thing where if you rent something, and as long as you're keeping it, it's almost like a rent to own. And once you've paid it off, if you never returned it, you just bought it.
That sounds like
So
Big
you
Choice
go back,
Video.
that would
instead of having,
have been
a shit ton of late fees. They're
would've
just
been
like, oh
completely
yeah, here's your
dangerous.
receipt for that game.
so
And
like
it
in
was
my
they
house
do it on a markdown too.
every Thursday, like whatever was rented had to be on the counter. And if we went to the video store and they said, well, you hadn't returned this, my mom or my dad were like, well, the rules, like they would make us leave the store, and then we didn't get anything that week. So it was like, and I remember there was a couple times where like my little sister had fucked up, and it was like, it was like I was getting ready to. I had my eye on this video game I wanted to rent or whatever. It was like, you did return the fucking Barney VHS, you stupid bitch.
Jesus.
You ruined everything, you stupid bitch.
The accountability. You know what else she used to do that used to drive me nuts is she fancied herself a jewelry maker, and she would take all the Play-Doh and she would leave it under a lamp to harden.
Mm-hmm.
And I'd be like, why are you doing such things? And she's like, I'm making beads. And I was like, no, you're ruining Play-Doh. Well, you can, hey,
You whore.
Well, you can actually make beads that way, technically.
Yeah,
you can't
harden play.
What
You're ruining it.
Yeah, but that's not the point of the Play-Doh. The Play-Doh's to be the Play-Doh's not supposed to be hardened. It's supposed to be eaten. I mean, come on.
And you know what? If it was
If you make it right, yeah. My mom used to make this peanut butter for that reason. We'd eat it.
Play-Doh. Okay, where it was everybody's fucking Play-Doh. She just thought she was fucking special.
She took the community Play-Doh and did that with, not hers.
Yeah, no, her Play-Doh was fucking fine. This was the
Wow, she sounds like a communist.
Yeah, she's very left. She has one of those equality stickers on the back of her car. But I'm sure her husband paid for the first date. Okay, I get it. Don't get me wrong. I love my. Oh, by the way, happy birthday, sweetheart. Love you, but you were a pain in the ass.
But I fucking hated
Your
you.
sister's
so
birthday.
Oh well, technically yesterday was, but
So that process where you just rent it so many times, it eventually would be yours. I had a movie a place would do that, like a small chain just down here. And I remember a buddy of mine, I hated his guts. We were friends by we had to be because we had mutual friends.
Oh.
But he was like, Transformers '84, the '86, the movie. I'm gonna get it one day. I'm gonna rent enough times. This will be mine. I rented that thing like 60 times. And when I was done, the lady goes, oh, "Okay, so do you want it? You can just take the box and all. You've rented it, you paid for it." Because videotapes were actually like $95.
Oh yeah, they
Oh,
were
yeah.
expensive.
Really?
Like, so, oh yeah.
Uh-huh.
Like
Oh, yeah.
if a rental place would get a movie, it was like a 95. Because a buddy of mine, his grandparents had a boat company, shut it down, and put a movie rental place in the office. And I used to go through the catalogs, like, why is Terminator $150? And that's how much it costs per VHS.
Yep.
So
my
I
aunt
rented it a
owned
bunch of times,
video
paid it
store for a
off.
while. Yeah.
Yeah, I paid it off and I got it. And we went to school the next day. And my buddy was like, "Oh, what was going on with you again?" I'm like, "Yeah, I know. It's in my bag." I'm like, "Because I fucking bought it." It
Now,
was like
you
88.
want- yeah. Okay. So keep this in mind that back, let's say that $150 for that movie, you put it in today's money, that's $455.
Good
Yeah.
God.
The reason you could get it so cheap in stores is because they mass produce them.
Yeah. Then if you remember back in the 90s, you'd go to the video store, like even when they were DVDs, to go rent the movie. It would be there before you could go and pick it up at Walmart. Like usually like a few months.
Like a month. Yeah.
Theater,
Yeah.
Right, it was.
rental,
Yeah,
then
absolutely.
you could purchase it. What was cool, I told you, my aunt owned a little video store for a while. So what earned me a lot of cool points in school, middle school mainly, was she would give me the teasers, because she'd get videos like a sample disc. It would have all the scroll
Had
down at the bottom.
Yeah.
It's called it, but it was the full fucking movie. You just had to ignore the little scroll bar at the bottom, which wasn't a big deal. So we were watching movies on VHS that were still in the theaters.
Nice.
She
Oh,
was
cool.
sitting there.
I had a
Spawn,
copy of
Jurassic
Kill
Park.
Bill like that, and I had a
Nice.
copy of Passion of the Christ.
Oh no.
That'd be funny during the, with
I had
the
a
brutal
bootleg
scenes.
copy
It
of
says,
Passion of the
"Purchase a
Christ."
copy of this."
It's illegal. If found purchase, contact the FBI.
Yeah. Oh, that's actually one of my favorite memes ever, where it was like they would show that one preview with like, you wouldn't download a car, and then someone shows a picture of a 3D printer with like, oh, just you fucking wait.
Yeah, no,
Oh, man.
those anti-piracy videos that that they had at the beginning of the movies. It's like all that stuff is what we do now, except for in the case of it, there's a monetary where you do download the video, you do download movies
Like that,
when you're doing it legally.
That you download, you download them instead of watching them in the theater. Because I mean, how many times has Drinker joked about? I like it. I like the way it's described now. You go to Tortuga instead of like pirate it. You go to Tortuga. You're a friend of Jack Sparrow. I kind of like that. It's like gays in the 50s. Are you a friend of Dorothy or friend of Judy?
The high seas, baby. The high seas. I mean, well, and some of these movies you have to do it out of necessity, because I mean, there's so many movies that are in like contract hell, where the distribution is like null and void. There's certain things you can only watch them on the high seas, or paying an exorbitant amount of money if it was released hard copy. It was like, so there was this movie that I used to rent all the time back in high school and watch it with we would just get high and watch. It was called Rumpelstiltskin. It was like a B movie. It was the same people who made Leprechaun. It is okay. It is no longer around. It used to be in the bargain bin every single time, and I was like, one day I was just like, you know what, I haven't seen this movie in forever. Like, I'm gonna, and like I remember the cheapest copy of it that I could find was like for $75, because I bought it, but more for the nostalgia and just like having it on my shelf, like like I knew I could have downloaded it for free, but
It was a bad movie.
There's plenty of movies like that where it was like, I not had some sort of emotional attachment to it, it was like I would have never in a million. The movie itself looks like it didn't cost $75 to make, but it does have one of the best jump scares in any movie ever. As
I have to watch that again. I haven't seen that forever.
somebody they're in like this like secondhand shop where obviously you buy the evil idol. You know exactly what. And there's this ventriloquist dummy, and they walk by it, and all of a sudden the dummy just goes, "Duh," and it falls over. But you actually get like a hard. It's well after the characters pass, and like you do get like a hard like A sharp, like and like it is one of the greatest things ever. It's like Goosebumps. Are you afraid of the dark level bullshit?
But rated
Are
R.
You Afraid of the Dark
Well,
was fucking good,
hey,
man.
you want to know
I
what
like that
is
stuff.
great is the Strider's afraid of the dark. Now Strider's got to take off. Thank you for joining. And give you an intro, give you an outro. So what you got coming up?
Yeah, tomorrow. Well, actually, later today, my time. Join me for Touched Grass with Theo Snodgrass, and we're going to be talking about simp culture and how terrible it is. That's going to be fun. Then next weekend, of course, every Friday on Weekly Rose Gallery, and the next week is Curse of Strahd, which Iron and Tiny are gonna and Darnell are gonna be joining me and helping me hopefully undo some of my drastic mistakes, but maybe they probably won't. They'll probably let me flounder.
Take
But
a class of learning to lie.
You need to
I don't
put on
lie. I'm too.
put on
Take
the
a class of
soundtrack.
learning to lie.
Well,
Put on the soundtrack to Rocky and just start rolling your dice until you get good at it. Make a montage.
No, yeah.
Yes.
The montage.
Me and Rocky had a montage.
That's how you know I'm honest, though.
And next time you think, well, I'm not good at lying, just think maybe my character is, and you'll be
Yes.
just fine.
Yeah. I will never forget Nate's disappointed, like, roll with disadvantage. He's just like,
That was so bad.
disappointed in you. He's like, you're done. Roll with disadvantage. I'm gonna make things worse for you because you're an idiot. It was fun.
Nice.
That's what I'm taking. That's the hole I'm gonna be digging myself out of next week. So we'll see how that goes.
I mean, the lady was impressed with you to begin with. Now she thinks you're crazy.
No, not. Well, maybe now Michelle Pfeiffer will think I'm dangerous, and then maybe she'll be attracted to me then. Well, who knows?
Hey, at least
that Coolio
now
music
everyone knows
video.
who the Lenny of the group is. So I mean,
It's Kenny.
well, thank you again, Strider, for joining in with us.
Yeah, thanks for having
You
me.
have a great
Love to
evening.
have you.
Thanks, Dad. See ya.
Yep, take it
Hey,
easy.
bud.
Hey,
Hey, man.
Wait.
wait.
Jesus and I love you, Strider.
Where?
And remember, red Play-Doh tastes the best. So
That was a orgasmo to
Feel
call back.
salty about it.
Yeah.
Yes.
So overall, which console, and I know this kind of puts Tiny in a little bit of a disadvantage, which was, in your opinion, the worst generation of consoles? Which one specifically was the worst of that generation?
For tie-ins or just video games?
Just for video games. What video game console?
The Jaguar.
Yeah, that one
Jaguar.
that was a bomb
I
for
paid
Atari.
$5 for it brand new at KB Toys. $5 brand
Where
new.
did you learn to
At KB
fly?
I would have to say, because my dumbass got it instead of a PlayStation, and it wasn't really the system's fault. The system was just fine. It was Sony getting all the licensing to basically get all the developers to not sign with Sega at the time. Was the Saturn.
Yeah.
I got a Saturn because it had more horsepower and everything. Sold me on the specs. And no, I mean, all the games I had for it were great. There just weren't very fucking many of them.
Yeah.
That's
Let's,
become a problem.
unfortunately, what in my opinion was, and it's getting a little bit more into modern, and it was just because it just did not do well, and that's the Dreamcast.
Yeah, the Dreamcast.
No.
It was a good
It
system.
was so ahead of
but-
its time, though.
Yeah, it was. But unfortunately, because of that
That
generation,
model.
yeah, he had all the Y2 games started off of that system. That is
First
still
Soul
around.
Calibur.
I mean,
Yeah, the best titled game ever, Project Seaman,
Oh God, that game
Oh
was so
yeah,
fucking.
where you raised an
Leonard
egg
Nimoy.
to a fish with a human face.
Yeah,
And you
Yeah.
the microphone and control, you can talk to it.
Yeah, and it was narrated by Leonard Nimoy.
Yep.
So let's see.
going old
I
school while he's thinking
honestly-
about that. 8600. I mean, the for Atari, that was a bad system.
Oh, the Virtual Boy. It was probably the worst system of all time.
Yep.
Yep, you're 100% right.
Yep,
The
that is
Virtual
it.
Boy was a complete piece of shit.
Yep, because
Well,
nothing
like,
says
hey,
3D
how would you like to
looking
have
at a red
only the
screen.
color red and have a headache?
Yeah,
I
wasn't
remember
groundbreaking.
because
It wasn't
see,
ahead of
I
its
don't even
time,
think
it
I
was
could
just
play
shit.
it now. But even as a kid, I remember this guy down the street had one, and just the way that it was set up is it's almost like so like my camera's like on a tripod right here. I can't imagine like sticking my face into like we played like 2 games and like the pain in my neck was unbelievable when it was like, oh, this is relatively light. Why wouldn't you just have a strap where you could just like strap it to your face? It was just so poorly designed. And they did have some like concept games that were relatively fun. It's just no, the design of it was terrible. I think it only made like 32 games. There was the entire shelf life of that.
Which
And
is
the best game on the console wasn't even released for American audiences. Yeah.
Well, it is kind of sad that one didn't take off. Well, obviously bad design. It was the best. It was the worst console, and it came from one of the developers of the best handheld gaming systems to ever come around, which was the Game Boy.
Yeah,
I think the Game Boy is so overrated though. Until man, even the Game Boy Color, it's like, well, it's in color. Yeah, you still have to hold it in a fucking light to see the thing.
I'm just saying from
Game Gear was so much better.
The Game Gear was so much better, but when you look at it from power consumption and what most people were buying and stuff like that, that's where it kind of gets that. But unfortunately, when the case with the Virtual Boy, because keep in mind, it's a Japanese company and he brought shame to the Nintendo. So you know what happened, right?
Oh, yeah. Harakai.
He was forced to retire. So, no, we're not talking about seppuku in any kind of way here. No. We're just implying it. No, but that actually, if I remember the history of the Virtual Boy, that was the case, is that ended up being his last project, and he ended up having to leave the company afterward because of how disastrous the Virtual Boy ended up being.
And they put an end to his family line.
He became friends with Hillary Clinton, if you know what we're saying.
Oh no.
Yep. It's odd. He had to shuffle off the mortal coil with 2 to the back of the head that he did to himself somehow. But
it's always great when someone offs themselves and somehow the gun disappears at the same time.
Yeah. He comes
themselves?
home and his apartment door is like kicked open. And he's like, hello? And he's like, is it me? And he's like, no.
You want to know what? I do believe Mario is probably just as ruthless as Mickey Mouse is. So,
oh, for sure.
It's just at this point, Super Mario at least has a much better public image right now compared to Mickey Mouse. So
they protect their IPs instead of like whoring them out. Where it was like that. That's what I always love when people are like, "Well, who has better exclusives, Xbox or PlayStation?" It was like the only console that has exclusives is Nintendo. Okay, and then it was like everything else will eventually make its way to PC. Nah, Nintendo guards their shit very well, and
smart.
Yeah, it is, and that's why it stands the test of time. So like imagine Sony if like no one else could play as Spider-Man or God of War, or if they actually held on to those things, then yes, you wouldn't see these consoles dying the way that it is. But it was like now all you got to do is have a Steam account and you can play whatever you want.
You could see for a while. You could see for a while and specifically like with Nintendo during the console wars in the beginning, when it was just Nintendo and like say Sega, they were fighting and they were competing against each other. But at a certain point, Nintendo realized we're not in competition with them. We're our own market. And so they started building systems that were not trying to compete with the PlayStation, with Xbox. They made their own things. Is it slower? Is it a lower power system? Sure. The graphics at the same level? No. But people are buying it because you want to know what? Good games and it's family friendly, especially when you were looking for things that are still family friendly. So I mean, they knew what their market was, they knew who their customers were, and they're sticking with that.
Mm-hmm.
Where you now have reports that
when I just played the newest Smash Brothers, and I was like, you can see the seams in Mario's jeans. Great, didn't need it, but it was like but the game would have been just as fun. I was like, and because they kept that cartoonish feel, it's timeless. So it was like I will say it always felt blasphemous now that you'll see like Sonic the Hedgehog like standing next to Mario, like on like certain game covers, and you're like, oh, I don't know how I feel about this.
You don't want to see what they're doing behind the cover.
I get it. Growing up, where Sega and Nintendo were like
characters together, it just feels right to me. It's like,
I get what he's saying. Sometimes when you look at it, you get that feeling that that's not right. It does feel right. But like sometimes, I've looked at was the first game they had Sonic and Mario at the Olympic Games. Was the first one?
Yeah.
One of the first ones. I remember seeing it at the time. I'm like, yes. Now occasionally I look at it, I'm like, that just doesn't feel right. No, they're supposed to be enemies.
They're supposed to the death. And I was,
So, I mean, Sonic. I mean, don't you remember your own ads? Sega does what Nintendo don't.
Yes.
I mean, what are you doing? I mean, it's like you're giving Mario a reach around. What are you doing over there? Stop it.
It is.
No, I can see it from the aspect if you grew up seeing those commercials, knew that Nintendo and Sega were the competitors, and they have Mario as their flagship character, then you have Sega with Sonic. So it does. I mean, that kind of makes sense a little bit, but the moment they gave up and started just being a software company, that's where I was kind of like, it doesn't bother me quite as much. But you got the recent news, and this is moving a little away from the venture aspect, but now they're saying that it looks like Microsoft may not even develop a brand new console.
I think they're done.
No, they're done. Well, even with that last pitch, they're like, well, if you have this, you have an Xbox. If you have this, you have an Xbox, and you're like, oh, okay, yeah. So you guys are.
I don't need to buy another console.
I mean, I mean, they peaked at the 360. That was their best console.
Yeah.
The red ring of death, though, man.
But they rushed so much to get that out there.
I still just remember playing the Force Unleashed. That's why I bought the game, or I bought the system, because all my buddies were like, hey, you got to play Call of Duty or Halo with us, and it was like, I didn't want to play any of that shit. It was like, I just remember, like, I went to Walmart, bought the console, bought the system, set it up, bought like a thing of pizza rolls, and I took the day off work. I had to be in my early 20s, and like my dad came home. I was still living at home, or I was home for the summer. I can't remember what the exact situation was. Like my dad came downstairs and he's like, what do you think you're doing? And I was like, I just bludgeoned a stormtrooper to death with a Jawa. He was like, oh, you got to let me try that. He was all pissed off and like disappointed until like he was like, oh, okay, let's try that out.
I got my 360 is actually still in its box. I only played it like 2 or 3 times. Like Because I'd had one before when they first came out, got the Red Ring of Death, all that shit, and didn't just fucked off with it. And then they came out with that Star Wars one with the Kinects.
Yeah.
I still have that fucking thing in the box, like brand new. I looked, me and my wife were kind of going through stores, seeing what we can just hawk and make space for. I could sell that thing for like 500.
Yeah.
Jesus.
Yeah, I really want to see what my Game Boy printer was gonna go for.
Damn.
Oh,
I remember that. Holy crap.
Yes.
oh
Yes.
how's this? The TV tuner for the Game Gear.
Oh, yeah.
Oh wow.
Yep. Turn your Game Gear into TV. Yep.
Yep.
Got an antenna.
Man,
Yeah.
like, well, I loved my Game Gear. That was that was the only handheld console I ever had, and I was really happy with it. I had pretty much all the games because they were cheap, man. They were, especially if you got them secondhand. Like the X-Men game was great. Fatal Fury had all the fighting games. The Mortal Kombat ports were almost just as good as the Genesis. But you had to have so much shit with that fucking thing. You needed the RC adapter so you could plug it in because the battery.
Yeah, you did.
You needed that big magnifying fucking thing so you could see the screen nice and clear. But man, yeah. So by the time you put all the shit on it, it's like fucking this.
Yeah, I remember. I never had one, but my dentist's office as a kid had like one or two like that you could play in the waiting room. And I think there was like I could probably count on my hand every single time where the battery wasn't fucking dead.
Oh yeah. And man, even trying to use rechargeable battery, because that's what we got first, and that was shit. So eventually it's like it had batteries in it, but I just had I had to like, all right, I want to play my game. I got to go find an outlet.
Yeah.
Here we go. Wait, I got to put the magnifier and then the speakers. And all right, here we go.
Yeah,
The auxiliary battery
Nomad
pack
was even worse, where it was like you maybe had like an hour game time, which is pretty sweet if you have an hour to kill. But
right.
Did you ever play on PSP?
I never got down.
I was
with
iffy with that. I got one.
I
almost bought the
newest one
for the PS5, like because
I got the Portal.
Yeah, I was interested in like what that does and
get it. Get one. There was an update recently that now, dude, now I can sit in my bedroom at night, plug in some headphones, and fucking play all night if I want to.
You can play
if I'm, it literally connects to your console, and it turns it like if I'm in the house when I connect, it turns it on. So like if I'm on a drive somewhere, I turn my phone Wi-Fi on or a hotspot. I connect. I can play my PlayStation in the car while driving.
Holy shit!
Because like the screen is the well, let me do it. Let me see if we turn it on.
So Darnell, are you trying to say that he probably should get it?
Yeah, I would get one.
I'm going on Amazon now.
PlayStation just turned on. I bought mine used, so I'm not really the sticks are kind of loose. But when I can, I'm gonna get a brand new one. Get this one to the kids. But this is an amazing device.
I'll be damned. I didn't even know that existed until just now.
It's connecting because it takes a minute for it to turn on.
Okay, yeah, because
it just connected.
You might have just saved my marriage, Darnell.
Look, my PlayStation 5 right there.
Yeah, I'll be damned. Look at that.
Whoa, you went too far. That's not appropriate. What the heck do you got on your PlayStation?
Oh, that's High on Life. That Justin Roiland game. It's free this month, so I got it. It's fucking awesome.
I bought it a couple months back when it was only like $15.
They just announced today. They actually just put them out today. The black version of the Portal. The black ones came out. They have the 35th anniversary edition. It's the same gray as the PlayStation.
Oh yeah, Midnight Black.
The buttons are the colors. Yeah, it just came out today. On that note,
Yep.
I find
pay in 4, and here we go.
yes, I find the best console for like I guess like like we got the worst and like to me the best is the PlayStation 1. Like for terms of like innovation, because I'm going to one game, Monster Rancher. You put the game in, play the game. You go to the temple, and you can put in CDs, music CDs, and it would give you a monster. So like you'd actually open the disc, the door would open up, pull the game out, put the CD, close it. It would read the CD. Based on the data, it would compile a monster for you. A buddy of mine and me spent the entire Christmas holidays, 2 fucking weeks, cataloging thousands of CDs, what it would give you, and how good the monster was, and how okay, this one dies within a few weeks, this one can last 4 years, and just that was like groundbreaking. And to me, nothing has beat that in terms of like progressiveness in video games.
Oh yeah, Monster Rancher was on PlayStation 1.
Yeah.
See, I don't know.
I've been waiting
for 1 and 2 for me for like the best consoles of all time, like modern anyway.
Yeah. I mean like ones that like push the envelope would be that one because of that feature. You could pop the drive open, take the game out, and the game's still running, and you could put in a music CD. Or like if you took a burn CD and you made like a mixed CD in your computer, you could pop that in, and it would read the data and give you a My favorite was WCW versus the World for PlayStation 1.
Oh my
it would
God.
give you this. It would give you this golem, this white golem, like a gold like championship belt around its neck, and one around its waist, and that thing would kick ass. You could go like on little like excursions to like different places and like explore tombs and find like fragments to like make new monsters and shit. And it was like Pokemon, but like you didn't catch monsters. You could catch them, but you'd like create monsters, and you'd like climb the ranks. You'd have to like feed your guy, give him oh shit, he fought 8 months in a row. He needs to rest for a few months. Fight with some other guys. Bring your monster back out, your big one back out, and fucking go at it.
Interesting. Well, it is that time of the night for tonight's sponsor of the Insert Title Here show. I'm going to kick myself out accidentally.
Dick.
Cotton swabs. Cotton swabs. In honor of the topic today, these beautiful little things, with rubbing alcohol, can clean off your cartridges that you're using inside your classic gaming systems. Now, don't call this a Q-tip. That is a name brand. They're cotton swabs. Remember, when you're using them to clean your ear, don't jam it in. It even says on the packaging, you may cause damage. And I can tell by a lot of people I've met around the world, people have been pushing these way too far into their heads. So remember, when you are cleaning your ears, don't jam it in. If you're cleaning vintage gaming cartridges, a little bit of rubbing alcohol, and you're all set. So thank you to tonight's sponsor, Q-tips. Famous brother, the cotton swab.
What a privilege.
It is. I mean, we were very close. We were very close of actually getting a previous sponsor back. And especially in honor of the 16th episode, our very first sponsor coming back. But they just did not want to be the sponsor for this episode.
Makes sense.
Yeah, they had a little bit of mainly it had to do with the fact that Theo wasn't here. It's part of the contract that if the sponsor comes back, Theo has to be there in honor of the first stream.
All three of us.
Yeah. All three of us have to at least be on the stream. So
yeah.
So yeah. So we're gonna end there, but we're gonna go around the horn and let everyone have an outro. Tell us what you got going on and what you got coming up next. And we are gonna start with Iron. What you got coming up?
Weekly Rogues Gallery every Friday at 5:35 p.m. PST. Next week we got Third Relify. We got a big guest list in March, so stay tuned for updates there. Going to be doing a second show, just still ironing out the kinks for that. So keep everybody posted over on Follow the X, just like it's spelled there. And did I make a joke? All right.
You're ironing out the kinks.
I was thinking
Iron
about
outside.
Wow, that was
the-
just bad. I mean, you're really stretching for the joke on that one.
Of course I am.
I don't know. I thought the same thing.
I'm a dad. Bad puns are dad things. Leave me alone.
Right. You're both born in the 40s, apparently. All right. Puns are great. Moving on. Let's see what else I got. I got Touch Grass tomorrow over on Theo's channel. Be joined over there with Strider. Got Curse of Strahd next Saturday, and whatever else happens to come up.
Okay, Tiny but Fierce, what do you have coming up?
Well, I have a bit of a busy weekend. I am here every Friday, which, as I said, the most fun I can have on a Friday night. And tomorrow I'm actually going to be streaming with Third Relify on his show, and then I will be on Weekend Trivia with Mr. Burger at 11:50 Pacific. On Sunday I have my regular Pop Culture Patriots podcast at 4 p.m. Pacific, and then tomorrow night at 9 p.m. Pacific will be Moxie Dames and my Star Trek The Next Generation retrospective. This month we're doing, it's the last Sunday of every month. This month we're doing the episode Darmok, which is one of my all-time favorite episodes. And we're having some other people come on if they're interested to talk about it. And soon we will also have another table read, because everybody seems to really, really enjoy those, as you can see.
Darmok and Jalad.
Yep.
When the walls fell.
When the walls fell. Yeah. Shaka, when the walls fell.
Shaka.
And on March 5th, I will be on with Arthur Nix, and I think that's it for anything fun and cool going on with me and streaming. Oh, and every other Saturday, like Strider said, every other Saturday, Curse of Strahd, just not this Saturday, it's next Saturday.
Okay. Darnell, what do you got coming up?
I will be there tomorrow for episode of Dharma.
Sunday.
Yeah, Sundays. I'm sorry. Sammy, I know you said, I think it's after your show, if you're interested.
Yeah, I just gotta check my work schedule, and I'll probably jump on.
Yeah. So I won't be on Touch Grass tomorrow. I was double booked for a birthday party. I have to run a quiz for a birthday party for my daughter.
Cool.
No, I really don't. It's her birthday party tomorrow. So I will not be on Touch Grass. I'll be on the Star Trek retrospect, and then nothing till next Friday, because I don't do any more shows, and trivia time has been pretty much shut down. So,
All right. Well, then it means we need to get a Rumble exclusive show going.
Cool.
I got a few irons in the fire. Huh?
Just do something there to put something together during the week. Whenever is a good day for you, we'll figure something out.
Yeah.
Well, Sammy, thank you for joining and being the guest this evening. What you got coming up?
You know what? Yesterday, my band just released a live album. It's on Spotify right now. It'll be on iTunes hopefully by the end of the week.
Make sure to send me the link on that, and I'll get that shared out.
For sure. And then tomorrow starts the first episode of Cavecast, which is my going to be my new show. It's going to be a very academic approach to the lore of Batman. I'm starting from the ground up. I'm going to give normies a PhD in Batman. So first episode is going to be an exploration in Gotham City. We're going to start off with that and a bunch of its iterations. I have the That's the
Nice.
but, and then of course on Sunday I have my new show in other news where I take people from all around the pop culture scene, and then we don't talk about anything pop culture. We talk about stupid things that happened in the news, and it's been great. So this week I have a crossover with B-sides B-roll. So I will have Adam Gray, Barbara Lawrence, and Mr. Sunshine himself, Emperor Goodwin, will be on to talk about the various stupid things that people have done all over the world. Horgate continues. We will we've been talking, of course, about Blue and Lily, and I'm sure shenanigans will ensue, but it's been a banger of a week. So I am looking forward to getting out Cavecast, and then hopefully I'll be able to jump on Moxie's channel a little bit later and talk about that wonderful episode of Star Trek. So I could be busy, but I also don't. And at some point this weekend I have to celebrate my sister's birthday. So I don't know when we're gonna do that. But
May I make a recommendation for a gift?
Oh, no.
yes,
Containers of Play-Doh.
I was gonna. Yeah.
dude, you know what she does? She does have a 3-year-old like son.
Just give her
So
a bead
like, oh
making
yeah,
kit.
you know what? Yeah, that's nice. I'm gonna let him play with it. Here's your gift. I'm gonna let someone younger than you do stupid shit. Now you have to watch. Yeah, that's great. That's gonna be perfect. It's funny
All
too
right.
because he is kind of like a mirror image of her. So when she'll be like, "Oh, that's annoying," I was like, "Oh, is it?
Is it?
It's fun, isn't it?"
Well, again, thank you for joining in on this evening's stream and our
Absolutely.
conversation. So I am Drunken Emerald Arrow. You can find me here, and we will be back next Friday at 9:30 PST. Still have to find a guest. I haven't booked anyone quite yet, but I have someone in mind. I will be over on Theo's channel tomorrow morning for Touch Grass with Theo Snodgrass. I'll either be on the panel or I will be in the background helping produce. I've been kind of moved to kind of a two-tier role. It's just as things kind of play out. Please hit that like and subscribe button, and we will see you all next week back on the show. Everyone, have a great evening.